Hello, lovebirds. It's Amelia.
G'day, it is Sam.
Welcome back to Ask the Jewel podcast, a podcast where we build better mindsets for better relationships, whether this is for yourself or for those around you.
Let's jump right into it.
Yeah, so today is actually Valentine's Day.
Shit.
Bing, bing, bing.
I didn't even know.
How do you not know?
Sometimes I forget.
It's very unromantic. Not qualified for this episode.
Shit.
But today we'll go back and talk about our younger selves in dating. We'll talk about our ideal dates back then, ideal dates today, and then we'll go through typical relationship Q&A type of questions and we'll go through them.
Roger that. Let's go.
All right. We'll start off with what are we doing for Valentine's Day?
Why is that funny?
Because I already know your answer.
Fucking nothing.
No.
Every couple is different in terms of what you guys prefer or like, and that's just through knowing each other over time.
And like most of the time, we don't really plan too much. Like, it's not really anything massive for us for Valentine's Day. We don't really do too much, only because we generally just enjoy each other's presence every single day anyway. So if there's an opportunity for us to go for a date, we'll do it. If not, we'll still enjoy each other's presence, either cooking at home for each other. And yeah, that's generally it.
Yeah, we're pretty basic. I mean,
Basic bitches.
Look, there are couples out there that go quite lavish or crazy in terms of how they celebrate it, which, you know, each to their own. But for us, we found that it just works for us.
I think it's nice though, like once in a while, occasionally, like to actually go out and do something.
Yeah, of course.
But that's our Valentine's Day. And let's get into first question. What's the most romantic thing we've done for each other? And I'll start with you.
Why do you have to start with me?
Because you're the most unromantic one.
Fuck. I think proposing to you was probably the most hectic, intense romantic event, I believe. And the reason why I say that is because...
Do you think coming from someone who doesn't do a lot of romantic gestures, is that the most romantic thing you've ever planned or like done? Like outside of, yes, it's a proposal, like you obviously don't do that a lot, but is that like the planning and what you've kind of strategized to do in that proposal? Is that the most romantic thing?
It's like to me, I find things, it's got to be an overall perspective, right? So the planning, the actual event itself and the outcome of that event, to me, that's what I value as the most romantic, especially when it comes to us. The planning was fucking intense. I can say that. Shit went wrong and it was more trying to make it work when everything failed.
Because it was pandemic as well, right?
It was during pandemic, but it was also raining.
Yeah.
So a lot of things, so it was outdoor to give you guys a perspective. And because it's raining, outside's wet. So it was very difficult to set it up. So what I had initially planned was I hired out a company that basically sets up a picnic.
Lavish.
Yeah, it's like a lavish picnic setup at your choice. So you choose the location and they basically go to that location and set it up for you on your behalf. That includes the hiring of the items, so setting it up, plus the food. So everything was basically set up. I had a photographer ready to jam, a videographer ready to jam, and at the end of it, it started pissing down. I think it was like an hour before what I had planned. And long story short, it just went to shit. Everything got canned. And I had a group on WhatsApp, which was a combination of my friends and her friends. And they basically said, no, we're going to make this happen. So they all got together and basically organized it.
Yeah, they all like got their individual items and like put everything together.
Yeah. And yeah, basically made it work.
Except the photographer didn't show up.
Yeah. So we had another photographer who was going to help out for that time and just didn't even fucking rock up.
So why do you think that's the most romantic thing? Is it like just the outcome of how you felt afterwards? Like you were like, wow, that was really romantic.
Well, the combination. So the outcome, but the pre-planning and the setup, it actually looked really nice. It was like nighttime candle lights with rose petals. It had we had signs. It was actually really nice.
It looked legit. Like if you didn't tell me that wasn't made from like a company, I wouldn't have known. I actually thought someone actually professionally did it.
Yeah.
I agree. That was like one of the most romantic things you've done, like for me. But I think also small gestures that from what you do is also really romantic. And I don't know why I always come back to this one memory, like really early in our relationship, we're at your friend's house. Like I just remember this and I find it romantic. Other people may not, but it was like, we're at your friend's house, and back then you do fix people like each other's cars or work on each other's cars in their like garage all the time. It was late at night. I think it was getting to winter. It was kind of cold and I was just like chilling, and there's a lot of mozzies, and you kind of disappeared, and I was like, where'd you go? Like I was just kind of like seeing where you went. And then you like came around the corner and you held like 2 jumpers in your hand, and you gave me one of your jumpers. You're like, here, I'll put one on. And I was like, oh, that's actually really sweet. But you don't do that anymore. You go get your own jumper. But to me, like these small kind of gestures where it shows that you were thinking of me is what I find romantic.
Yeah, so you're a small...
Yeah, like it's just the small gestures. Like it's the smallest things that you don't need to go. Like, yeah, of course, the proposing, it was really romantic. It is a really good memory, which I'll always remember and be grateful for our friends as well. But the small things like that, the small gestures is what stays in my mind too. Yeah, so that was really sweet. And then for me, I feel like out of the two, like if we were to compare the romantic level, I'd be more romantic. Like not romantic as in like it has to be all like rose petals and
lovey-dovey shit.
Yeah, but like I always plan for things, or like...
Yeah, she's the strategic planner. And you can tell because that's what you're good at. And that's why you're in your work industry, because you're good at doing that stuff.
Yeah, I guess. And I think the things that I do is just that when we celebrate something, I make sure we actually celebrate something. Like, say, anniversary, I'll make sure there's actually a card. I'll make something. Like, for example, I think it was the 2nd year anniversary. I actually baked and took a half day to make a cake and all this desserts and stuff and just create things.
Yeah, and I would have to agree, early on in our dating career, you're
getting promoted to senior dating associate.
Yeah, you used to make a lot of random shit, and it was like not random shit where it's just like, what the fuck is this? It's like really cool and intricate. I remember
like
you made
handmade creative.
Yeah, you actually hand draw. Like you've got a very creative ability to just come up with those things. And like for an example, that one year we celebrated, you baked me a cake, but it's not just the cake; it's the container of how you.
The box.
Yeah, she made a custom box. I think it's just out of like a.
It was a gift box, but I think I made a collage of like our photos or something.
Like the from memory, the lid had a collage of our photos, and obviously the year of what we were celebrating it on. So I think it was like our 2nd or 3rd year together. But the collage was like on the lid and under the lid, but inside the actual gift box, it was like neatly, I wouldn't say gift wrapped, but baking paper inside, so that the actual cake
was
presentable and like neatly packaged.
Well, I'm glad you thought it looked good, because I was just like, I have no idea what I'm making.
So outside of that one, there was another one you made where you gave me a little box. And in this box, it was like a globe. It looked like a globe.
Yeah, it said, to the world, you are one person, but to me, you are the world.
Yeah. And I was like, that was pretty good.
And it had a little scroll in it, and the scroll had
she had like a little scroll, and you can unlock the scroll, and the scroll's like a little tiny thing like this big. And you unravel it, or unroll it, and it's like her little like love note to me.
Yeah, but like to me, I like to handmade things or do these little small things because it's very unique. Like although it's not something like say for example you can sell online, but it's unique to us and unique to like that is the one and only thing you can get.
Yeah, and those things are, it's invaluable because those are things that you've made specific to me or just for us.
So do you agree that that's the most romantic thing that I do for you?
Yeah, I think that's like the coolest thing and the most romantic thing I've ever probably gotten. Because most people would just buy stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most people would buy a card or just buy a gift and just give that. Whereas this is different because it's, like I said, like it's an experience. It's custom made just for you. And I still have the little globe box to this day somewhere in my cupboard.
You better still have it. Okay, next one. Guess each other's younger ideal date. So when you were younger, what was your ideal date? Whether you did it or not, but it's like when you were thinking of going on a date or preparing for a date, like what were you thinking of?
Yeah, so you first.
Nah, you first.
I went first. You first now.
No, gentlemen's first.
Nah, brother, you're first.
Well, no, just thinking back, I never really thought too much into it, but I think if I was to really think or pick an ideal date. Are you
guessing mine or?
Guessing yours.
You're meant to be guessing mine. Like what my ideal date was when I was young.
Well, you were pretty much like a kid that didn't really give a shit, so I'd say Macca's.
Well, wrong, actually. So as a kid, I wouldn't say kid, I'd say like, teens, 18, 19, fresh out of high school, my ideal date back then was to go to the movies. As lame as that is.
Is it so you can put your hand over their shoulders?
Yeah, so you can do the little hand movements.
The yawn.
Maybe here. Yeah, maybe this one or maybe this one down here, No. So like that was my ideal date back then. And I always used to use that consistently. And it worked. I mean, not like to touch yawning? Or anything, but I don't know, it was just a go-to thing.
But why did you want to do the movies? Was it because it is just used to watching a movie?
I feel that you can get a bit more personal because it's in a darker setting. No one's looking at you.
You can kiss if you want.
You can do things. You can get to like closer, and you're not embarrassed because yes, people are focused on the movie, but it's an opportunity for you to get closer with that person. Even though, yeah, you're probably not getting to know the person, but you can get closer to the person.
Interesting. I think, actually, no, you guess mine. I keep trying to tell mine. You guess mine.
I think your ideal younger date is someone who took you out on on an adventure.
What kind of adventure?
So I think because you appreciate the small things, I think just being around the person, whether it be eating, whether it's to go for a drive, whether it's to go and spend time, say, at a lookout, for an example, I think that's your ideal date.
Are you just explaining our earlier dating time?
No. I just think, just knowing you, I think that's what you're.
Kind of close, but yeah, I think I do appreciate just being able to chat, like sit with someone and chat and talk. So that is one thing, but I think back then and now I still watch a lot of Asian dramas, so very influenced by that. So it would be the romantic, like maybe walk by the lake thing and actually talk, or go and like eat dessert or cake or something like that. Like, but I would think it would be a long day. Like it would start from going out, having like go Starbucks or something, and then go somewhere to walk by the lake and talk and chat, and then after that it's like, is he gonna hold my hand? I don't know, like please hold my hand.
He ain't gonna hold your hand, fool.
That was my ideal date.
Thought so. See, I was good.
Nah, you were wrong.
Well, I was close.
Now you have to guess what my ideal date today would be.
Your ideal date today, I think you are still very similar to what you were in your younger days. not necessarily in the fact of
Are you gonna hold my hand?
yeah, not necessarily not necessarily that in the fact of walking by the lake, but I still think you would still appreciate the small things. And what I mean by that is just doing something together, just to talk, just to chill.
Yeah, it's very accurate. I think when you were saying like movies, how you can get a lot closer, it feels a bit more private. I would not choose cinemas is because of that. Like a lot of my part of dating or like just dates, I enjoy the communication and chatting side of things. So yeah, I do still want to go somewhere where you can still talk. That's why I don't like going to loud places or anywhere because you can't have a conversation. Like you'd just be either yelling on top of each other, or like on top of the music at the restaurant or something like that. So yeah, like I would still enjoy walking by the lake. I think it's just chill, but I think it's as long as it's undivided attention where you're actually having a conversation with each other and spending the time with each other. That's what my ideal date would be. Wherever it would be, it could be at like, Mount Cootha lookout and we're having a chat, or by the lake, or maybe we're at the shops just sitting at the food court and we're actually chatting and like joking around, like wherever it is, as long as we have like a good communicated conversation, I think it's an ideal date.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand why. It is still like I said, you haven't essentially changed. It's just maybe the smaller.
I think the smaller expectations are different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So guess mine.
Something similar?
No.
Watching movies at home.
No, so wait. So what do you think it is?
Something similar where you can actually have a conversation, hang out with each other and just enjoy each other's presence.
Why?
Because you also like the conversations. But I also think similar to your movie thing, but now rather than going to cinemas, you like watching movies at home, like dramas, TV dramas or movies, and just chill at home.
You are half there. I don't do movies and shit anymore.
Or anything, TV shows.
Yes. But I would say just anywhere where I can actually talk to that person.
So similar to mine?
Yeah, so for me, my perspective has changed significantly since I was a younger teen. It was just about, I hate saying that, getting the pussy, but now it's more focused about you as a person, and that's what I care about. So I would want to talk to you, get to know you, understand you in and out, understand what ticks you, what pisses you off, what makes you laugh, that sort of stuff.
But even like with me now, is that your ideal date?
I prefer to just go, like there's nothing that has to be specific in terms of what we're doing. It's just going there to experience it, but also to get to talk to you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's basically the same, right?
Yeah. So it's quite similar. Would you say I changed your mind?
In terms of?
Your views on an ideal date, or you think that's just like...
I think, no, me as a person, definitely it's more gravitated towards talking to people and knowing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll now go into some relationship Q&A. You ready?
Yeah, go.
Okay, first one. One quality that attracted you to your partner.
Shit.
So this is like when we first like...
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing, the quality that attracted me was, I think your smile and your eyes. Yeah, like because you were always a very happy person. So every time I saw you, you always like smile and laugh. And when you smile, your eyes are like this.
The semicircle.
Yeah, semicircle. And I don't know, just.
But is there something that's not physical? Or does that translate to something that's not physical?
Well, that does translate to non-physical because it was more like emotional. Like you always seem so happy, but you also seem so open to talk and to hang out.
I think the one quality is kind of hard because, we were friends for like 6 years.
For a long time, yeah.
So I think the quality that actually got me attracted to you, I think is just, again, being able to chat, but also your body language and how you actually listen. Like you're actually listening. You're not like, how about this? Let's try that. Or like, why would you want that? And blah, blah. Like you would challenge me, but it's like very respectful and you're also listening at the same time. So I think that's a good quality because you're actually listening. But then it's not that you're just sitting there and listening. You're helping me. Like we're bouncing ideas off each other with a challenge or a problem that I'm talking to you about. So it's an actual conversation.
Yeah. And is that the only thing? That's
says one quality.
oh, okay.
Favorite thing about each other. Why are you taking so long?
Well,
that many, eh?
well, no, I was thinking which one I should say, but
Well, this one just says favorite thing. It doesn't say one, so you can.
I think the biggest one that resonates with me is your. I had a brain block, but your ability to, your ability to just want to help everyone, and like you're so selfless. Like you're just like, hey, I want to help as much as, and I think the biggest thing is people don't realize how much I guess you hold as a person in terms of the size of the rock that's on your back in terms of the shit that you're carrying. A lot of people don't realize what you're carrying, but you still manage to carry others with you, if that makes sense. And I think until you get to know you, that's when you go, holy shit, okay, I see what's going on. But from an outside perspective, you're always very like willing to help. You're always very like, just selfless.
I find like it's always been a thing. I find that helping other people or listening to people's problems help me, because either they are going through something similar, which is why I like these podcasts, like just with guests and talking about their challenges, and why I say that just listening to them magically helps your problems is because you're learning from what they are experiencing.
100%,
and it's the same thing as like even work. They said that the best way to learn is to teach someone, right? So if you're teaching someone what they need to do in the process, you're also teaching yourself.
Yeah, of course.
So I think that is just like if you help someone, you're helping yourself too.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
My favorite thing about you, I think similar thing to what I said, is just the ability to listen, but also I'm a type of person who needs just straightforward honesty, and you are exactly that. Like you just give everything straight. Like it can come off to other people as very blunt or like very straightforward, but I need that in my life because I've just grown up with people who aren't that straightforward, especially in the Asian culture. Sometimes you feel really bad about saying something, or you want to sugarcoat something because you feel bad, but you're not like that. You're just like, no, we don't need this, or no, you shouldn't do that because that's just not right, or something like that. Like you're very straightforward, which is what I think people need to find a bit of that balance in that. Like sugarcoating or being nice or being considerate is not a bad thing, but you also need to be honest when you need to be straightforward.
Yeah, you need that fine balance between the two.
Yeah, so that's my favorite thing about you, and that's just taught me a lot just in life in general.
Nice.
Next one, living together. So how to balance between being together all the time and giving each other space at the same time.
You're a person that needs me around to some degree, but at the same time, you're very independent. You have the ability to just do things on your own when your mind's set to it. And how I know when it's time to let you do your thing is
when you're just like, go away.
No, that's for you. I'm talking about you though.
No, this is you. How do you balance?
Oh, well, okay. For me, I think a lot of people when they think of couples or relationships, they think, okay, you live together, you see each other every day, but it gets deeper than that. It's like, well, yeah, I see you every day, and we live in the same household, but it's differentiating that time where it's like spending actual time to talk to you, as opposed to, okay, I'm near you. I think that's one thing I realized, not just living with you, but just being with you in general. It's me understanding the differences between the two. I think initially I didn't understand that.
Yeah, because you thought me sitting next to you is still quality time, which I don't disagree, but to an extent when it goes on for way too long, then now we're just being in the same room with each other, but we're not communicating.
Yeah. So how I say, okay, I need my own time is when I tell you.
Yeah, you just like, go away.
Yeah, I'll tell you about, okay, let me just do my thing because I need it.
Yeah. But I think it's not the same for every couple. The beauty for us that works well with each other is we do enjoy our own time. So we would naturally just go off. Like we have separate rooms. Like we are grateful enough to have our own house at the moment. And we both have our own separate rooms or office, as you call it. And we would just, once we've done having our chat together, like either that's over lunch or we were just sitting together on the couch and just chatting or watching TV shows, we naturally just go back into our own office and do our own thing.
Yeah.
And then when time has passed and say like 2 hours or 3 hours, and obviously you need a break from your computer because sitting there for too long is not good. So I'll maybe get up and I'll just check and see what you're doing and be like, hey, what are you doing? And that's just like our balance between doing our own thing and coming to check on you. And then if you're really busy, I'll probably just go back to my room or go make a drink or something like that.
Yeah. And I think it's very important to have that differentiation in terms of where you spend your time as opposed to where I spend my time. Because there was a moment where we lived with my mum, but we shared the same office space, and it was just like working in the same office space and just chilling in the same office space. Not saying that it was bad, but it got to a point where it's like, how there's so much noise in there. How do you just separate it? So I think that's why it's also good to have two separate rooms where you essentially study or your work in separation.
Well, I didn't mind being in the same room. I think it was good, but I think at one point we both kind of took that for granted, where we, like what we were saying before, we felt like we're in the same room, so we're like kind of assuming that's quality time with each other, but really you're playing games with your friends and I'm doing my design things and playing around with my programs, but we're not really talking. Like the whole day has passed and we literally have not said a word or even turned around and looked at each other, maybe apart from going down to get a drink, come back up, and that's it. So I think it wasn't bad. Like I actually enjoyed it because we're actually there next to each other in a different sense as quality time, but we took that a bit too far.
Yeah.
So that is how we balance. But it's really also just communicating. Like for me, I do communicate. I'm just like, hey, you kind of like forgotten about me all day. Can we just chat for a bit?
Yeah. And I like the fact that you remind me, because I lose my sense of time. When I get focused on stuff, I get focused. And the reason why I do that is because when I get focused and I'm switched on, I want to make sure I do it and I finish it. So it can be seen as a good and bad thing, but I like the fact that you come in, but remind me. Yeah.
And then sometimes borderline, I'm just annoying.
Yeah.
Next one. So this kind of leads on to the next one. What is our love language? What's yours?
It's just spending quality time, right?
Yeah, my number one was also quality time.
Yeah. But there's different types of quality time too.
Yeah, which is why I thought this question was good, because again, our individual concepts of quality time is different. So I want to hear what you consider as quality time.
My definition of quality time is just doing things together, whether it be something small where I'm watching something with you, I'm with you, in the same kitchen. Like those moments I treasure as quality time. Though to you, you're the opposite.
It's not opposite. Mine's quite similar, but the only difference I would say is that you still consider quality time even though you're there with me, but you have your phone or you're playing your game on your phone. But I consider that as divided attention, because half your attention's on the phone, half your attention's on me, or we're watching TV. Like we're watching TV, not talking, but your attention is on the phone as well. So it's not 100% present. So the only difference is I like quality time where your presence is 100% there. Yeah. So I think that's the only difference. And that's why, again, that table situation, the room, was something that we always had to discuss about. So that's our love language. But I think it's just really good that we do share similar love languages. And I think all the other ones, like the other 5, were quite similar too. I can't remember exactly what they were, but the order of them were quite similar.
I can't remember as well,
Yeah. What's the biggest thing that you've learnt from each other?
I think the biggest thing that I learnt from you was be okay being alone. I think the biggest thing that was an eye-opener just being with you is the fact that you are so good being by yourself in terms of how independent you are. How proactive you are.
Entertain myself somehow.
Well, yeah, how proactive you are and just how you can entertain yourself. I'm a person that always grew up needing people around me. I always had friends around me. Everywhere I went, I had friends with me. Not because I asked them, it's just by them being there. So I always was surrounded by people. So going from a setting of people to just being by myself, it was a big change for me. But seeing how you did it and how you were always by yourself, but not because you chose to be by yourself. It was just like, well, it is what it is. You just did stuff by yourself. And at times you prefer to be by yourself.
And I have fun.
And you have fun. And that was the biggest learning thing from like curve that you taught me is to, one, be able to do things by yourself, but how you entertain yourself and how you are so proactive by yourself.
But how did that make you feel after you implemented that?
Well,
was it like freeing, or were you like, wow, this is a whole new side of the world that I haven't seen? Or
no, just appreciate the time just being alone sometimes.
Yeah.
Being independent in the fact of just doing things by yourself.
I think there's a lot of things that I've learned from you. I think just your ability to talk to people, linking back to that being honest and straightforward, and learning from you how to be straightforward, but then also merging in my twist of like how I would talk to people. I think that's the biggest thing, and learning from you has been really helpful because I was that person that always stayed quiet, didn't know how to speak up, wouldn't actually give an opinion. I would just want to be in the shadows. Like, I don't want to be like the one that stands out and be like, hey, I disagree with this, and not to make an argument. It's just putting forward my honest opinion, and learning how you do that and seeing how you do that with other people, and then seeing how people respect you so much more because you're being honest. That was a big eye-opener for me.
Yeah. And I was never open and honest like that. That took me time to learn too. I taught myself that. I forced myself to. I was exactly like you when I was younger, where I always was kept quiet. And that was because of parents, and our culture is always like, you keep yourself quiet. You don't make a scene, just let it happen. And it was just one day I switched, some switch flicked, and I was like, I had to change. And that was the biggest change. I had to learn.
Still a learning curve for me, but it's been good, like just trying to implement that. And it's, the biggest thing I've learned. And then the one thing that annoys you about each other.
There's an endless list.
Hey,
what is that?
I'm not that annoying.
Oh, shit. Where do I start? Pass that to you first.
I think it would be... It's really hard because like when I honestly say that there's nothing that's annoying, I truly mean it, because I find that there are little things that kind of like do annoy you or like tick you off, but it's not to the point where I'm like, oh my God, you are so annoying. Like, get away from me. I've never felt that with you. It's just like there are random times where you're like, okay, now you're just getting too much, now go away kind of thing. So I think we both do the same thing. Like there are times where we just want to annoy each other and you're like, just get a bit too much. That could be annoying. And I think the other thing is just going back to the quality time where you do enjoy your games, and I get that that's your downtime where you like to enjoy that as your own time, but you do bring that into our quality time, and I do find that if you could do that a bit less, it would be good for that, to have that 100% undivided attention.
Anymore? It's meant to be one thing, you gave us two.
Oh, whoops. Oh, well, you can get two then.
Yes, fucking ballbag, yeah.
Well, you said you had a whole list, so.
No, I was thinking, so I'm similar in the fact that I don't think there's anything that really, truly annoys me, if I'm being honest. Like, I haven't had a point where I'm like, I fucking am annoyed and I need to get away from you. Like, I don't think I've had that. Yes, there has been moments where it's like, okay, you're a bit annoying, get away from me kind of thing. I think the one thing that I could probably think of right now is...
Are you going to say the dishes?
No. One thing that is you dwell on things way too much, and that is annoying.
How do I dwell though?
So what I mean by dwell is like you overthink.
I don't feel like I overthink though. I feel like I analyze.
So overanalyze. So sometimes whatever it is, you would talk about it and you have to analyze it from top to toe And it's like, okay, cool that you're analyzing it, but bruh, you're going a bit too far. And it's just like, and once the discussion's over, you come back and you say the same thing again. I'm like, dude, we just spoke about this. Relax.
No, it's just analyzing and making sure that I haven't missed anything.
Yeah, of course. I understand the analytical point of view, but it's like, well, the more that you're analyzing the situation, the more that you're just digging yourself a hole because you're just going to consistently think about the same thing. The variables here and what's this option and what option B and that sort of stuff. I get why you would think like that, but at the same time, it's just like if you need to make a choice at the end of the day, you're never going to make a choice. Just make a choice, tick and flick it. If that doesn't work, come back to the next one. That's the only thing I would say that is it gets annoying when you do that.
I would have to disagree, but okay. Do you have another one?
I think I'm just going to keep it at one.
Okay. I'm an angel. What are our similarities?
We're similar in the fact that we're very chill in all aspects, I feel. Though there are some things that, might be a little bit different, but, we enjoy very similar hobbies. Like I got you into gym, but now you enjoy gymming. You're very, fitness. We're both into that. And then Muay Thai, we both do that. And then originally at first, I'm still into cars. You technically enjoy cars.
Yeah.
But you're probably not as hard into it as I am, but you still appreciate it. And I think it's cool to have someone that appreciates and enjoys the same things.
Yeah. I think our similarity is just the way that we joke around a lot. And like joking also has different types of, I would say, categories or styles of joking, but we're quite similar, how we like give each other shit and we just laugh at a lot of things and joke around. So I think that's our similarity.
Yeah, that's true.
What's our differences then?
Well, the major difference is you're very analytical. I am to a certain degree, depending on what it is and what my ultimate goal is within that particular thing I'm analyzing. Whereas you would want to, you top from to toe in terms of analyzing.
So from my point of view, my analyzing is like how I tackle life is there's always 10,000 angles to a certain problem. It's like if you tried one thing and it doesn't work, you try something else. Or before you go into a certain problem, I think of a few different scenarios so that I know that if one thing doesn't work, I can try something straight away. So that's why I overanalyze. And I wouldn't say overanalyze. I just analyze a lot so that I can come with different solutions, not just go with one and then you're like, oh shit, what next kind of thing. And that's my thought process behind it.
Of course. And not saying that analyzing is a bad thing or a negative thing. Like even I analyze it. I like to see things from multiple point of views, but I think about those point of views and I just go, yep, those are the points I'm going to stick with. If I dig deeper, it's just going to be an endless cycle. So I just end my choice and I end the conversation there, knowing that there are multiple decisions. Yeah. Whereas I think you keep that in the back of your mind and you keep thinking about it. I just
have plan B, C's and D's.
Plan A all the way to Z. That's
and then exclamation mark, @ hashtag symbol. Yeah, I think our major difference that we can see, although personality and character and how we think and values are very similar, but I think the difference is that you're very, like, with that straightforwardness, you are very, I don't know the word to say blunt, but it's not blunt in a rude way. Like, you're very straightforward, whereas I'm a bit like, consider someone else first and being like, oh, maybe they might have thought this way, and so I don't want to say this because of this and that. Yeah,
you empathize empathize on people a lot more than I do. Like, for me, it's like, cut the bullshit, man. But I try to give it to the person how it is, but respectfully. And I think it's important to communicate in a way where people can get the point rather than just, give it a bit of a sugar coat where they might take it the wrong way. I take it the wrong way where it's not giving them the answer.
Yeah, like this is a problem that we always discuss like in the back. So for me, my problem is that something has occurred or someone said something and it could have been happened over multiple time, like multiple different days or weeks or something, but I always miss the opportunity to speak up.
Yeah.
And my problem is like when I have the opportunity to speak up, I forget that I actually have the opportunity. Whereas like you're very straightforward, which is good. It works in your favor and it does help you. But at the same time, sometimes you are a bit too straightforward where someone's like, well, okay, that was a bit too much.
Yeah.
So we're like two different ends of the spectrum.
Two different ends, yeah. And yeah, look, there's going to be people that probably take it the wrong way, but I personally feel I would rather be upfront and have someone go take it the wrong way, but have that ability to have the conversation and fix it. We're all adults. We should be able to approach each other and say, hey, did you actually mean it like that? And I think, yeah, we're old enough to have a conversation and be like, no, I didn't mean it that way. Yeah. This is what I meant.
And you've definitely like found a better balance now as to say 5 years ago when you're like, nah, you shouldn't have done that. And you like swear at them 100%. Or something. But now you actually like, hey, with this situation, can we just not do this, or this is not right, blah, blah, blah. So you've kind of like toned down, which is a good thing because you've found a better way of approaching the problems.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Back then, it was 0 to 100. Yeah,
so that's our major difference. We'll finish it off with how do we handle conflict?
I mean, we don't really have much conflict. The biggest thing is, and this is applicable for anything, and it's just communicating. I think if we have a disagreement, it's just talking about it. And talking about it is very important because you might have an opinion on your perspective and I have an opinion on my perspective. And I think you have to have that open communication where you can lay it on the table and discuss the differences and then come to a happy median.
I think how we handle conflict is just exactly like how we had this conversation today. Like this episode is we say you had one opinion and I'm like, okay, I don't really agree with that. I think blah, 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 blah. So that's just how it is. And there could be some heated conflict, but it's the same thing where I'm like, okay, that was so rude. Like, can you not do that? Or we'll talk about it, or I'll tell you why you think it was rude. And then you might be like, I didn't think that was rude at all. And then I'll explain again from my perspective why, blah, blah, blah. And we just bounce back and forth our conversation. But we try not to reach the point where it's like argument, which is quite rare. It's just discussion mainly.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to set the boundaries too. Like you said, if I said something to you that you took offense to it, it was too hard or it was a bit rough, you would tell me, and I think that's when I go, okay, I got to pull it back. And I think that it's a good balance between us in terms of how we communicate in that regard. And I think it's really important for other people to try and use that too.
Yeah, and I think just very grateful that in most of our stuff, our thoughts and opinions are quite similar. Say, for example, designing the house, we didn't really have much of a conflict. We weren't like, oh, I like yellow and you like blue or something. So in those kind of sense, a lot of those things, preferences are quite similar. Yeah. So I think that's been really good for us too. With that being said, that is the last question for the relationship Q&A. But wishing everyone a happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Even if you're single and you're enjoying it by yourself, there's nothing wrong with enjoying a singles day. And yeah,
and hopefully you find someone. If you are looking for someone, you get to mingle and jingle at the same time.
Mingle and jingle, what the hell?
So hey, everyone, everyone's different, but play safe. Make sure you.
What are you trying to say?
Be safe. Make sure you whoever you're meeting up with, you suss them out, and all the love spread for you guys.
Actually, before we go, you know how in high school when it's Valentine's Day, people usually give out roses. Did you ever give a rose to anyone?
Fuck no. What the fuck would I give a rose for? You know how expensive roses are? Yeah. Fucking roses are like a long stem rose is generally like $30. For a single rose. And when you put Valentine's Day in front of the rose, oh, dude, it's like $50. Hell no. I ain't doing that shit, all right?
Speaking from the son of a florist.
Yeah, so mum's a florist and I used to work at a shop, and the markup for just V-Day or Valentine's Day is quite significant. So Just be
Just
careful,
like
guys.
everything else. Like when you're planning a wedding, a cake can be jacked up like double the price.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's bonkers.
But anyways, off topic. That's it for Valentine's Day. Hope you enjoy and
Peace out.
goodbye.